Hey, how's it going? This is my peer-to-peer Pong game that I made in Python, and it uses Arcade to make the game, and then the networking aspect is handled by a really cool library I found called Python Banyan. And what that Python Banyan does is it creates an instance that multiple um, users can connect to and send updates to, and then it essentially just allows for a peer-to-peer connection for programs. And so for this game, what happens, and I'll go through the code as well, is as updates are made, they are, instead of just being sent straight to the Arcade library on a single client, they will be sent to the Banyan library, and then Banyan will actually handle the updates, and it'll update for both instances in real time. And this is the code for it. We just have a couple of preset parameters for the program here. We have the class for the ball for the Pong game, the class for the game itself. You can see we're defining a couple of things such as the title. We're making the arcade window and assigning it the screen width and screen height, which we had up here already. And then we're going to go ahead and make a couple of lists to hold all of the objects. So all of the sprites, the ball list, the player 0 and player 1 sprite, the score, and all of that. And then this is where it kind of gets a little more interesting. So the Banyan library works by us creating a backplane. And what that is that's just a service that we can link our client to once it's started. And that's essentially just the peer-to-peer aspect right there. And the Banyan works by being sent topics and payloads. And those topics are just the reference point for where the code is supposed to go. And then the payloads are the information that is going to be passed into the functions. So we do have to define those topics right here. So we've got just all the ones required for the program. And then if we keep going, you can see we have the code to add a ball. Just adding everything to the screen and then rendering the scores for the two players. And then right here we have the movement. So you can see if self.player equals 0 and the button right is hit, then we're going to upload the payload of movement speed for X if they go right, and then negative X if they go left. And then we're going to publish that payload, and that's going to send it into that Banyan, and it is going to just update the output window, that game client, for both users in real time. And then we have this function here on mouse press just to say that we don't want the code to run until we click, just so we can get connected on both sides. This is the on update for the ball, just so the ball can keep moving. This is some information for the backplane, that service that we are going to connect to. And this is the receive loop. And then this income message processing is what handles the majority of the updates. So you can see if the topic that is passed in is called update balls, what we're going to do is we're going to take the coordinates and then just adjust the coordinates as needed. And then we also have code just so it can't go out of bounds. Just standard stuff needed for the game. And then some collision detection for both the players so it bounces off the paddles. Some more code for the player movement and the code to remove the balls if they make it past the player's paddles. And that is about it. And to run this, you do have to run the setup file right here. We do have some instructions, so you just have to say pip install -e space period, and it'll install this. And what that allows us to do is just type in run, and then it will output our window for us. I'll go ahead and start running the program. You can see we have a little information down here. This is the backplane IP address. This is what we're going to need to use to connect to from our second computer. Like I said, this is a peer-to-peer game. So what we are going to need to do, like I was saying, is we're going to use this IP address right here and type that into our second client, and that lets the second client know where it's going to connect to with the program. And to show that, I'm going to use a service called TeamViewer just so we can see my other laptop at the same time here. So on that other laptop, I'm going to go ahead and type the same thing, run, but I'm going to add -P1, and that's saying we're designating it as player 1, and then we're going to say -B, which is designating the backplane, and then we're going to type in that IP address from before. And then we're just going to hit enter. And you can see this has outputted for that other computer. If I go ahead and open this one, you can see we have one window on my original computer, and then this is my second computer over on this side. And you can see we also have a window open here. And you can see this one is designated as number 1, and this one is designated as number 0. Now, as soon as I click, it'll go ahead and start. You'll see that that does start updating. You can see that it's updating essentially in real time. There is a little bit of lag because of this screen share software that I'm using. It's just a web-based one. But you can see I can move my player on this original screen. It'll move it on the second computer screen as well. And then I can also move on that second screen. So I'm just playing across two computers right now. And they are sitting next to each other, but I did test it and it did work across a greater distance. I had one of my friends play with me just as a proof of concept. And you can see the scores are incrementing as the ball hits the top or bottom. We can see the score going up accordingly. But that's about it. Thanks for watching, and feel free to leave any feedback.